Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back in. Welcome in. Oh, man, it's Sunday. How is you guys' Sunday going so far? Yeah, today's live stream is going to be a little bit more of a rant, kind of, as the topic implies. But yeah, if you guys definitely, you know, want to help out the channel, sharing this would be awesome because then other people can actually find that it's live at this time and be able to kind of just, hang out with me and chill out while we talk about this wonderful, wonderful subject that seems to just rear its ugly head every now and then. And as you can tell by my sarcasm, that I am, in fact, not supportive of this type of thing. But I'll get into my reasonings why. Joys of the San Joaquin Valley. Michael, welcome in. Appreciate you for being here. As also for, being on every live stream that I have. I really appreciate you for showing up and coming in and being engaging. And I encourage that for everybody else. That if you come into my live streams, don't be afraid to engage and speak your mind. I've always laid the ground for people to kind of share their thoughts without feeling constricted to have to go along with what everybody else thinks. I think that type of, podcast is just, it sucks, right? When you kind of feel pressured into having to agree with what everyone does. Also, if you do want to support the channel outside of letting YouTube take part of that, there is a QR code right there. You guys can scan that. It's to my PayPal. And I'll also throw the QR code up to stay up in the top corner right there. But yeah, this way, you guys know that anything that you guys want to help out on the channel with, it goes directly to me and YouTube takes nothing of it. So there's that QR code. I'll leave it up there for just a little bit longer. And before I kickstart the topic at hand, it's basically saying what's up. Those that came in. How's it going? How's it going? Jeremy, Bobby Warren, welcome in. Glad to have you here. Like I said, and yeah, let's get the chat kind of opened up here. Good morning. At least good morning where I'm at. Coolest thing was the other day I was kind of going through some stuff, just kind of organizing some things, and I found my old Mint Sim shirt, and I was like ecstatically happy. Okay, now we know the company is called Mint Mobile. I got this shirt in the very beginnings of their when they first came out. I guess you could say beta. So it's like, yeah, okay, cool. I gotta rock it. So, Mint Sim for sure. I don't even know if my code works anymore. You know what? I'll throw it up here for like anybody else that wants to try it out. I don't know if this code still works, but if it does, hey, you know what? That'd be great. Mint Mobile, which you buy in bulk. If you don't know, Mint Mobile sells in bulk, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. So yeah, so I'm gonna give it a try. If you're signing up with Mint Mobile, let me know if the code still works. I don't know if it does. I just kind of wanted to just kind of throw that out there, test that out. Ricky is in Arizona this morning. He'll be in Las Vegas by tonight. Yeah, I've seen. I mean, I'm not completely following Ricky on his adventure across country to his new place of residence in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? I don't know. I look at it from a different perspective. Like, I know everybody's interested in what all these different content creators are doing, and I know people are interested in what Ricky's doing, and so you guys are following along with him, and maybe it does help him, like on his drive to just kind of like not be alone. So he's talking and he's reading comments and everything like that. But I also feel that I'm not gonna. I'll watch some of his live stream as he's driving. I'm not really going to say anything because I don't want to distract him. You know what I mean? It's a long drive. That's one of the things that I love to do is drive across country, but it can be physically demanding and also mentally demanding on you. And last thing I would want is, for anything to happen to Ricky. So God, keep your hands over Ricky as, make sure he makes it safely to Las Vegas. Cause I would love to, know that he's close by, because then I can always drive 5 hours to Las Vegas. I can go see Carlos, I can see Ricky, I can see Ray. So it's a 5 hour drive, not far for me to go. yeah, so shout out to Ricky, and safe travels, make it safely to your destination. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get some badass videos from Ricky now that he's going to be living in Las Vegas. I mean, his videos in Florida, awesome. You get to see the sites of the Keys where he lived. But now we're going to see him in Vegas. And then I don't know, we'll probably see him and Carlos do a lot of things. So looking forward to that collaboration with them too, since they're going to be basically in the same city. They have a lot of time to kind of just meet up, do these speed tests and all this other stuff. So we'll see on that. Anyways, so what I wanted to discuss is this whole, reignitement of the Android versus iOS, right? People are posting on social media, and they're kind of bringing this up. They're making it known. They're seeing this online, and so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to eradicate this part of it, and so we have people who think that that Android fans, Android users, are the most toxic ones, and they're taking to social media because the iPhone 15 just dropped. We heard all the specifications of the iPhone 15, the 15 Plus, the 15 Pro, the 15 Pro Max, and then there's videos that's talking about the good things about it. There's things that's talking about the bad things about it. And you know what? Like it's a catch-22 situation, because some would say that some are being a bit immature and a bit toxic about it, because they're mentioning some of the things that they feel is like questionable on the release of the iPhone 15 series, right? Like now we actually have a gap between the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, whereas before there really wasn't much of a gap between the two, other than the size of the device, right? Like we always felt like that Apple kind of catered to like those who like smaller devices. We'll get the 15 Pro. Those that want a bigger device will get the 15 Pro Max, but there wasn't a giant gap between them as far as specification, hardwares, and stuff like that. But now we're seeing things a little bit different, and some are calling out Apple for it. And, I understand, why they're calling out Apple for it, but does that literally mean that we got to label them as toxic and, they're hating on Apple and everything like that, right? So, you got people are talking about it, and they're saying that, Android users are the toxic people, right? Now, I have a whole totally different opinion on that, and I'm going to lay into it because I really don't care who I offend, but I will say it like it is. TJ, welcome in here. I both had Apple and Android. They both have different types of operating systems, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, of course, their operating systems are a little bit different. They're very similar. Like, if everyone cuts the bullshit out, they're very similar as how you would use the software, right? It's loaded with icons. These icons for the apps, the applications that you're going to use on said software. You tap on it and it launches open. You navigate with your finger. It's got, similar sets of tabs that you can switch between depending on what app you're using. There's not really a drastic difference between Android and iOS, other than, the type of the type of the software that it is, right? iOS being more closed and more, controlled by Apple. You really can't do much with it if you're one that wants to really just kind of I don't want to use the stupid ass word customize, because customize is not really it's part of it, but it's not the whole realm itself. But if you really wanted to make iOS yours, there's not really a way to do it unless you jailbreak your device. But then jailbreaking your device causes, issues with the device itself. Bobby says, when am I going to visit Ricky and Carlos? Dude, I got my own life to live. Like, I will visit them when I have the time and when I have the money to do it, but I can't give you like a definitive time when I'm going to do that. I got things I got things going for me here that I got to get done and taken care of. But if it ever happens, I will definitely say it on social media. I mean, I post everything about me on social media as far as like, my interests and things that I do. So if I'm heading towards Vegas, you guys will definitely know. I don't understand how both companies are toxic. Well, not both companies are toxic, but they're saying that like the users, right? So like, you guys know that I prefer to use Android over iOS, right? Like mostly every review that I've ever done has always been about an Android device, whether, it's Google Pixel, which is my favorite, or Samsung, or, back in the day I did New Mobile. It's always been Android, right? So like, that's what they're referring to, is the people, not technically the companies itself. And right now, the point that's being said right now is that Android users are the most toxic because they're coming at it with the little snarky banters like "Welcome to 2021," "Welcome to 2019," because the iPhone 15 has a feature that maybe Android has had for a while, and I just like, okay, we're seeing a lot of that, and we're seeing people that's like, oh, Android users are so toxic. Okay. Shout out to Ace Lucero. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. He actually posted a video talking about that, and was talking about Android users coming out the gate and kind of poking at the iPhone 15 and all this other stuff, right? And I commented I replied to his tweet or his post on X, whatever it is, and I basically laid it out as is. It's both sides, right? Because I can absolutely fucking guarantee everybody that on October 4th, when the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro is unveiled, with the Pixel Watch 2 being unveiled and all the other stuff from Google, Apple fanatics are going to come out the gate and talk about how, they don't know how to build a phone in-house like Apple does. Their chip is not the same like Apple makes theirs. It's on both sides. It's always been on both sides. So really kind of just saying that it's one side being toxic is not how I would have presented anything. And if everyone wants to take it back, because I've been in this game for a long fucking time. I mean, come on now, look at my channel name and what I've dug out from the dark holes of everything, because my daughter's like, I like that name, Dad, go back to it. Okay. Now, if you look up Aloha Android, I've been around for the longest freaking time. Not as long as Max Lee and them, but pretty long. Okay. Since, 2011 for this channel, 2010, for my very first channel that, I was being a little crybaby about and killed off. But anyways, that's not what this is about. I digress. So way back in the day, right, in 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, it was Apple fans that would come out and just rip the shit out of Android phones, right? An Android device with a QWERTY keyboard, and it's like, oh, it's not sophisticated enough for an on-screen keyboard only. iPhones can do this, iPhones can do that, Android can't do this, Android sucks, 2.2 Froyo is a piece of shit. Like, I've heard it all way back in the day when I was making videos about custom ROMs and stuff like that, and that would always be one of the snarky things that's thrown in there by an Apple fan. It's like, oh yeah, you got to use a custom ROM because it's not smooth outside the box. All these things have been around for the longest time. So technically, if you want to get real down to it, Apple fans have gone in on Android users for the longest time. So it's like you kind of reap what you sow. Now, I'm not trying to excuse the whole thing, but I'm saying, if shots fired from one side began, you can't expect the other side to not fire back in retaliation. And now we're seeing it on both sides, where both sides like to talk shit about each other when they really just kind of adopt everything that one side has, right? Apple adopts things from Android and brings it in, and Android adopts things that Apple has done and brought it into them. It's just the way of it. It's how it is. It's how it is. It's competition. There's not something that Android is going to come out with that Apple is going to say, we don't ever need that. Except for probably one thing. But I eventually feel like that Apple will crack in the end, but we'll see. And that's RCS messaging. But other than that, mostly everything else, like Android gets this feature and Apple wants to do it, right? Android focuses on AI, and now we're starting to see that Apple's kind of fucking around with AI. So, realistically, they're always going to adapt things from one another. Apple features late for years, like flashlight. Nowadays, people nitpick about stuff that's not as, definitely. USB charger now, really? They really didn't have a choice on that, though, Magical Mermaid. Besides, like, to be honest with everybody, the whole USB thing, if the EU never pressed Apple to do this, then I'm pretty sure they would have stuck with Lightning. They probably would have came up with something else, more modernized. They would probably like redesign the whole Lightning cable and everything, but they were kind of forced into USB, so that's why they did what they did. Nowadays, people will argue about stuff that doesn't affect data. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, USB-C is now on there. Yep, for sure. And that's just because the EU kind of pressed them, right? So like the European Union basically wants things done a certain way, right? Like on my gaming channel, I already talked about the European Union kind of pressing Niantic and Pokemon Go and some bullshit they're about to try and force on the game itself. But I'm not going to talk about that here. You can go to my gaming channel if you want to hear about that. The European Union loves to kind of fuck around with different tech companies and try to make them bend to their will, which I think is like ridiculous as hell that they want to make them bend to their will and do all these things. But I digress from that. So Apple complied, and Apple decided, like, hey, you know what? Since we're going to have to put USB Type-C on our iPhones, might as well do it for the entire global world, right? So, like, you know, international models, North American models, they're all going to get USB Type-C. But then Apple wound up the whole situation, right? And I believe that if you want to do a file transfer from your iPhone 15 to your Mac or to, you know, anything, you would need their actual specific cable to do that, right? Like, so if you were to use just, you know, a generic Type-C cable that you bought from like a grocery store or something like that, it would definitely, you know, it would definitely at that point just basically just not work. Supposedly, that's what's said. And I understand Apple to do that because, again, like Apple likes to have all the security there, and it looks like that a couple of people has hit that QR code. I see 2 of them, so thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate you guys so much for that. But we see Apple doing these things, right? Some people will complain about it, some people won't complain about it. You know what? Everyone has an opinion, and opinions are like assholes, and everyone has one. It's totally fine. Hey, it is what it is. Apple's gonna do what they want to do. Okay. Android is going to do what it wants to do. 3 QR codes. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. I'm watching a number here and I'm wondering. So, thumbs up. Anyways, so Android, iOS, they are good respectively. If you kind of think about exactly how far Android and how far iOS has come along, right? Because we've had different softwares from back in the day. People may have forgotten, right? We have BlackBerry OS. We had that. We had Windows Mobile. Oh, awesome. Appreciate it. 4 QR scans. I appreciate you guys. We've had, Windows Mobile. We had that at one point in time. We've also, Symbian, I think is what it was called. We've had that. We've had multiple different mobile phone operating systems back in the day, right? And the last 2 really standing is Android and iOS. They are the last 2 standing. And on the Android side, that's a very big accomplishment because a lot of people really thought that Android wasn't going to make it that far. Like, again, I go back to the days of when, iPhone fans used to just rip the shit out of Android phones. They literally thought that Android could never catch up or surpass. And now what we've seen from 2010 all the way till present, it is a back and forth on the leads, right? There's times where Android leads ahead of iOS, and then there's times where iOS surpasses Android, and it's been a back and forth neck and neck race, right? Some people will disagree. Of course, there's a little bit of flakes of bias in there. Hey, totally fine. The way I see it, the way that I look at mobile technology is that they're both neck and neck, always surpassing each other at each step that they grow. So it is what it is. Android had large phones and multi-screens first, picture in picture. Yes, they did. When they bring the 3.5 headphone jack back, I don't think they're ever going to bring that back. They're so invested in wireless connections. I mean, you look at everything today, and you got the Pixel Buds, you got the Samsung Buds, you got the AirPods, or was it AirPods? EarPods, whatever. You got those. And then you have every other manufacturer, like JLab has their own wireless earbuds, and you have all those different ones. Sorry, let me take this message really quick. Oh. But anyways, you have every other company kind of making their own wireless earbuds and stuff like that. So they're all pushing for wireless connection. Give folks a phone charger with 1,000. Yeah, that's something that I would definitely I would agree with, right? Like the whole idea of taking away the charging brick is just ridiculous. I've heard every excuse in the book when it comes to that. One of the biggest ones that they try to champion for is like, oh, we're trying to cut down on industrial waste by just sending you guys a charging cable and maybe like a little adapter thingy. And some literature and whatnot, and our boxes are made from recyclable material. And I was like, that's great. That's great that you're looking out for the environment. You're looking out for waste management. But then for those people that need a charging brick, they got to go buy one, right? So that's an additional box they got to buy. That's additional things. It really didn't save anything, to be honest. All right, let's cut out all the bullshit and let's just talk about it in layman's terms. Did it stop industrial waste? No, it didn't. You still got to buy an extra component, so it's extra packaging, extra receipts printed, extra bags used. You're just increasing the waste rather than decreasing the waste, right? But we all know what it really is all about. It's all about money, right? Android and iOS, and that's what I said. Android and iOS, they do the same damn thing, right? Google Pixel stopped giving you the 18-watt charger in the box. Now you only get a cable. I mean, that totally blows. Samsung now does it, and they're like, oh yeah, our boxes are much thinner. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Don't penalize everybody else on the backs of a couple of idiots who, don't know how to just basically manage waste, right? Like, my phone boxes are not thrown away. I don't throw any of them away because I may resell them. And if I resell them, I don't want to meet somebody and say, yeah, here's a Pixel 7a. You want to check it out before you buy it? Like, yeah, I'm going to present them the phone, but I'm also going to present them the box. Like, here's the box for it too, It has all the literature inside of it. And since I have a bunch of chargers, I probably will never use the Type-C to Type-C charger. So it has that in there in case you need one. There's a lot of things that people can do as far as waste management. But, So my wife is trying to, her phone's acting weird. I'm just giving her advice on what to do. Anyways, the whole Android versus iOS wars, I think, is very petty. I think it's very juvenile. I feel like that, it ties into something that, like, I've talked about before in past podcasts, that I feel like that, I want to highlight it because I want people to really see how stupid this frame of mind is. The fact that people care what other people use, I think is also the most dumbest thing in the world. Why does it matter what I use, what you use, and what everybody else uses? Why does it trigger people? Why do they get offended? Why do they get so mad they gotta take to social media and just begin talking out their backside? That's the real reason why we have this Android versus iOS. People cannot let others be, right? If somebody that used Samsung for years decided, this year I'm going to buy the iPhone 15 Pro and I'm going to use the iPhone 15 Pro. Well, then there's always that 1, 2, or 3 people that's going to be triggered and go in the comments to be like, Apple lacks in this. Oh, if you go with them, you're fucked on iMessage, because then if you go back to Android, your messages won't come to you. Like, who cares? Let that person buy an iPhone 15 Pro. The one thing that I've always advocated for is buy what you want to buy and use what you want to use, because it matters how you feel about it, right? I would rather have those that come to hang out with me on this channel be happy with the device that they purchased, because this year you may want to go with an iPhone. And then maybe by next year, you're like, okay, I'm all iOS out. I want to go back to Android. And so you go and you buy like the newest Samsung, or you go and you buy a Pixel or whatever device that you want to buy that's Android. Like, people change. I prefer to use Android. I really like using Google Pixels. I buy a bunch of them and get a bunch of them. Well, let me retract that back. My wife buys a bunch of them. She buys them and gifts them to me so I can do stuff with this channel. So really, my wife is like the biggest supporter I have. Which, of course, it should be that way. But like, sometimes I feel like using iOS. I don't have the newest iPhones, but the iPhone XS or XS, however you guys reference it as, it's still up to date on iOS. And I like to take that out the drawer, charge it up, grab one of my SIM cards, throw it in there, and use it. Okay. The cameras are outdated on the XS, so it may affect the way that you feel about the phone. No, it won't. I hear a lot of things from people that tell me all these things like, oh man, you should go get an iPhone 13. Your experience is outdated. And it's like, okay, but you're cutting yourself off at the knees, because aren't you the one going out there talking about that one of the big reasons that iPhones are so much better than Android is because of the longevity and software support? But then you're telling me that I can't use an older iPhone device that's up to date on the current iOS because you want me to get something that's modernized with modernized camera sensors. I'm not doing photo comparisons between Android and my iPhone XS. If I decide to make a video saying, hey guys, this is the picture qualities I'm getting from the iPhone XS in 2023. That's showing you how the damn phone aged. It's not saying that I'm comparing it to Android. You don't see me doing a dogfight between the photos of the Pixel 6a and the iPhone XS. That's the point that I'm making, is that people care too much about what other people use. It's almost as if like they live vicariously through all of us, right? They live vicariously through other people on Twitter. Android will be impossible to beat because it's to go obsolete as a mobile OS because it's owned by Google. And the same way with iOS. iOS is going to be impossible to beat because Apple has been in the computer game way before smartphones were even here. I mean, believe it or not, one of my favorite movies, and I know the movie wasn't historically accurate, but it was still one of my favorite movies to watch. Like, this is one of the movies that I can just watch over and over and not get bored of it. But the movie Jobs with Ashton Kutcher playing Steve Jobs, like I said, no, it's not historically accurate, but I enjoy watching that movie. Just kind of see where Apple came from, coming from a garage to what it is today, right? Great story from rags to riches, right? Of course, I know that there's not really a Google movie per se. When it's not really about Google, it's about two guys that are salesmen that take an internship at Google. And yeah, The Internship is one of my other favorite movies. Of course, a little bit more graphic, a little bit more colorful. So my kids got to watch when my kids want to watch with me, we watch the edited version. If I watch it alone, I'll watch it, that's unrated. I don't care about the certain scenes or whatever, but the movie in all is funny, and even though it's about the two salesmen that finesse their way into an internship to try to get jobs at Google, and just the stuff that they have to go through being much older than the college students that they're competing against, but you also kind of get a look and get to see what life at the Google campus is like, right? They showed some certain things. I'm pretty sure, there's a Quidditch field and they play that. I know there's volleyball courts and stuff like that. I really want to know if the concession stand inside, I think it's the main Google building, if everything that's there is free. Like if you can get a banana, you can get a muffin, you can get a soda, you can get a juice, coffee, whatever it is, and if it's free, okay? Because dude, I don't care what it would take to work at Google. If they had posted a fucking job listing that was like, we need janitors or whatever they want to call them, dude, I'll be a janitor at Google. I'll mop the floors and buff them and shine them and grab the trash and toss them and everything like that. And if I can be inside that building daily, I'll do that. So yeah, we kind of got to see that with that, right? So when it comes down to Android and iOS, they're not going to be beaten. They're going to continue on and on. What's going to be hard is for another mobile OS platform to kind of come in. Now, we can't say that that's never going to happen. Sometime down the road, maybe 5 years from now, another company is going to emerge with their own version of an operating system, and it's going to compete against Android and iOS. We may see that. It's not far-fetched to think that way. It's kind of hard though, because the expectations of a mobile OS is really high. That bar is really high. So anyone coming in with a new mobile OS really would have to be at least 3/4 of what Android and iOS already has in order for them to even be relevant. Because if they come in with only 1/4 of what the current softwares are offering, it's automatically going to get shut down by tech enthusiasts. That's the truth about things. Well, Apple and Google are two different tech companies. I'll give you that. But I'm going to tell you straight up right now, their operating systems are not superly different. The only difference between Android and iOS is security. Android is an open source platform, which means that you can design Android the way you want it for your smartphone. If you own your own hardware company and you take the source code files from Android and you build your own skin to be on top of it, you can make Android the way you want it to look. So Android's open source and iOS is closed source. You don't get to design iOS to your liking. You use what they give you. And Apple has even been that arrogant to even say that you're using your phone wrong. If in fact you do have an iPhone, they have at times said that. Now Apple is not oblivious to the fact that there's people who jailbreak phones. And trust me, if Apple really wanted to really kind of lock down their phones, they would really make it like super impossible for even just at-home developers to figure a way to jailbreak that software. So they know that people do it, and they really make you work for it. That's pretty much what it is. So it's closed source, but if you jailbreak your iPhone, you jailbreak your iPhone. They're not going to come in with the FBI and kick your door down for doing it. However, if anything goes wrong, they ain't going to help you. Simple as that. Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to condemn Apple's anti-consumer tactics with their proprietary iMessage. Yes. That's all totally different. Not totally different, but that is part of the equation there. So there are good and bads. And eventually, you know what? Like, since Apple conformed to USB Type-C, there is hope that they will eventually adopt RCS. Yeah, I agree with you, Magical Mermaid, of them basically just slugging down older models. Yeah. I mean, I really haven't felt that much of a pinch with the iPhone XS, but then again, I haven't like consistently used like a newer model like the iPhone 13 or 14 for like weeks to know if there's like a gigantic difference between them. Yeah. The biggest benefit of Android is that it allows me to sideload any app I want, just like a PC or Mac. Yeah. I couldn't imagine not being able to use new pipe or revamped or a Kiwi browser. Yeah, no, I got you. Waz is a real genius. He was. B-Tech Reviews, what's up? Welcome in here. Two Phones, what's up, man? For free, welcome in here. Tito would do the Squid Games for Google. Oh man. But to be quite honest with everybody, generally on a lot of things, there's not really much of a difference between Android and iOS as far as the platform itself and just how you use it. They all do the same thing. The difference is just what their approach is for the consumer to be able to use it. Open source versus closed source. Like I said, Apple has had its arrogance to tell people you're using your phone wrong. And we've seen this. You can't just brush that under the rug. I know Apple fans like to do that when you bring that up into conversations. They like to sweep that under the rug. But it is absolutely true. There was points in times where Apple was telling people like, hey, you're using your iPhone wrong. You're holding it wrong for a photo, or you're holding it wrong for a signal. Like all this other stuff. Weirdness in all of its things. You know what I mean? But then again, that's Apple. Apple's like that OCD controlling person. Everything has to be the way they want it, and they want full control over it, right? And Google's just laid back about it, like, yeah, this is Android. This is what we vision Android to be. But hey, if you guys got a better idea, go for it. And if you guys think that there's no purpose to the reason why Google does this, there's absolutely a purpose that I don't see a lot of tech creators talking about. The reasonings that I feel like it's beneficial for Android to be open source and why they allow companies like Samsung and Motorola and all them to come up with their own skins and designs for Android is because if you didn't notice, they kind of take a little bit from all of them, right? They take a little bit from One UI. Back then, they took a little bit from TouchWiz. They took a little bit, from the Moto Blur back in the day, and now whatever it's called now, even with LG and its UX. They take little bits here and there that they see that works, and they implement that into Android. I mean, if you look at the Pixel experience right now, you can see remnants of TouchWiz things or One UI things now that, that's what Samsung calls it now. You can see remnants of Motorola and LG. You can see those things baked into the Pixel experience, what they call stock Android. I've already talked about the infinite iPhone access on there. I think it's a pretty good deal. I mean, why not? You get, you pay $60 a month. You get everything that the Unlimited Plus plan offers. So that's the unlimited talk, text, data, 30 gigabytes of priority data access, North America Connect add-on free, and International Connect add-on free as well. So that's the Unlimited Plus plan. Then you get an iPhone, and you get the iPhone 15, whatever model you want. If it exceeds $1,000, you got to pay the difference. But if it doesn't exceed $1,000, you can get anything from the iPhone 15 to the iPhone 15, Pro. I think the Pro Max models automatically exceed $1,000. But anyways, you can get those. And then if you take care of the phone on Boost Infinite for a whole year, next year in September, when the Apple event comes along and the new iPhone is released, you surrender your iPhone 15 to get the iPhone 16. Like, you get an iPhone every year. But if you don't want to upgrade to the newest iPhone, then you just continue for 36 months on the iPhone 15. And then, yeah, it's pretty nice. Bill Gates and Windows phones, the true losers. Quite ironic. Yeah, Windows Mobile was not bad. I am one of those people who will tell you straight to your face, Windows Mobile OS was not bad at all. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't trash. It had its own uniqueness. You had the tiles. The tiles were icons / widgets, because you had the live tiles. There were a lot of good things about Windows Mobile that I enjoyed, I liked. The problem with Windows Mobile is app development. You didn't have, Instagram, Meta. Well, back then they were just Facebook. You didn't have them specifically making applications for Windows Mobile, right? Like, when you went into the Windows Mobile market to get an application, you can find Snapchat on there. But then when you actually read the contents description of the application, and it tells you that it's built by a third-party developer. And a lot of people didn't trust that, because they're like, why am I going to use a third-party app and sign into my account, which this app built by somebody that I don't even know could actually be phishing or harvesting, logins, breaking into people's accounts. You know what I mean? That's what killed Windows Mobile OS, was lack of app support. They didn't have Snap Inc. working on a Windows Mobile Snapchat. They didn't have Instagram working on one. They didn't have, Facebook had one, Twitter had one, and that was about it. But other people were using different, social platforms, right? There was Tango, that was like chat. They had Viber, I think, that was chat as well. They had all these different things that were chat, and message boards and stuff like that. And yeah, there was just no development for it from the actual companies that provide this service. So yeah. Nature, city landscapes, and tech. Welcome in. How hard was app development? So somebody that has the innate ability to build and design an app, it wouldn't have been too hard for them to do it. But back then, if people didn't really realize this, back between 2009 and 2016, a lot of applications were biased, and they kind of furthered the growth of the mobile software that they really truly wanted to support. And most of them supported iOS, right? iOS apps always got the newest features and the newest updates first, right? Then it would come to Android like 3-4 months later. Okay, things have kind of changed. And I'm going to say this, but Snapchat was one of the first ones that kind of helped tilt and change the whole landscape, because Snapchat started focusing on Android. Because I use Snapchat as an example because, back in the day, Snapchat, if you use it on an iPhone and you were going to snap a photo or something, it actually used the camera sensor. But on Android, the reason why the snaps from Android were so shitty looking is because it didn't really use your camera to snap that photo. What it did was it would use the camera to present an image on your display, and when you snap the button, you hit the button to snap a photo, it just screenshotted what it saw on the display. Not a lot of people know about that. you really have to dig your research. And I would suggest, for those people who are like, nah, no fucking way, Tito, that's not possible. Do your research. You'll find out the earlier versions of Snapchat, when it first came out, if you had it on iOS, it used your camera to take the photo. If you had it on Android back then, it used the camera to present what you wanted to take a picture of, and the picture was actually a screenshot, not taken from the camera itself. So that was a difference back then. It wasn't until, and it's sad to say it, but it wasn't really, a lot of more companies really didn't follow in suit on pushing towards Android first. So I'm not going to say that Snapchat was the first one to do it, but they kind of did shift the tilt. When Snapchat started catering more towards Android, especially with the Google Pixel 6, because that's where they really focused on. Snapchat started focusing on Android and focused more on the Pixel 6, which is why the Pixel 6 had more features with the Snapchat app than iPhones did. And it continued on that way. Tom, what's up? Welcome in. That explains why it looks so bad on Android. Yeah, that's why it looked all grainy and everything. It was a screenshot. Snap Inc. actually admitted to that. But you just got to do your research and you can find out. That's the reason why that, photos from Snapchat on Android back in the day were so shit compared to iOS. Now it's not like that. Now, with the Google Pixel 6 further, Snap working with Android, closely. And now we get real photos. We get real photos if you take a snap. I mean, I like Snapchat. It's hard for me to be on Snapchat because I feel like that old guy that's on there. Snapchat's for more like the younger generation, right? I feel like that if I'm in there and I'm like, doing all the Snap stuff, because I like taking photos and sharing what I'm doing in like a vlog style, but I feel like people would be like, hey, there's an old guy in here, that type of thing. And I'm like, hey, I feel that way sometimes about Instagram too, which is why I'm not like a heavy poster on Instagram. I post my tech stuff on there, but you don't really see a lot of like my stuff, like me. That you'll find on Threads, right? I'm active on Threads. I'm active on X. You'll find me on both of those. Windows Phones was nice. Yes, Windows Phones were nice. There were some of them that were really, really good. Oh, the HTC Cha-Cha, the Facebook phone. Oh my God. 291 technology on a new channel. So, okay, cool. Appreciate it. I missed the Nokia, Samsung, and HTC partners with Windows Phones. Yeah. I think HTC did a really good job. HTC and Samsung did hella good in the early days with Windows, and then Nokia just really knocked it out the park afterwards when they kind of like made themselves the unofficial house for Windows Mobile OS. Because some of the stuff that Nokia was doing, you had Windows Mobile, and then you had their insanely huge megapixel cameras back in the day. They were going all the way into the 100 megapixels before Samsung and them did it. So you can't beat the $60 a month plan that allows you to keep the iPhone 15 after 12 months of paying just $6,000 a month to pay out the phone on your own. Yeah, but to get the new iPhone, so like just kind of clear things up, okay? To get the new iPhone on that plan, yes, you can keep the phone after 12 months, but if you want the new iPhone 16, you do have to surrender the iPhone 15. You do have to trade that in. So it doesn't require you a trade-in to get the iPhone 15 to start, but if you want a new iPhone every year, yes, it does require the trade-in of your previous iPhone to the new iPhone. So you're just jumping, right? iPhone 15, get the iPhone 16. You'll always be on the latest iPhone. Just going that way. iPhone 15 is trash. Don't start the Android iOS wars. No, I mean, everyone's entitled to what they feel. Like I personally, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I don't want people to shy away from what they feel and what they want to say, right? Consider this place, a zone where you can just cut loose. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that other people shouldn't be triggered by the fact that Two Phones just said that the iPhone 15 is trash. He's entitled to think what he wants to think. That's his choice, and he can go on his own YouTube channel and say that the iPhone 15 is trash about 1 million times. It's his right to do it. See, that's what causes these Android versus iOS wars. Again, it goes down to the root core of the problem, and that problem is that people expect you to use what they like. They think that you have to get the phone that they would get, and you would have to use what they want to use, right? social media kind of bred this type of mentality, you know, because you got influencers that go on Instagram and they want to travel the world and they finesse their ways into partnership deals and got sponsors. And now, you know, they make decent money, right? They make, you know, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 a year. And all they do is they go around and they travel around, right? Social media influencers. And people started living vicariously through influencers on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be. People started living vicariously through them. And that mentality has bred this thing where it's just like, oh no, Tito unboxed a Pixel 6a. You're fucking stupid. You should have got this. No. If you think I should have got so-and-so phone, then you get it because that's what you want. I wanted another Pixel 6a because my original one broke. I have one now. Okay, it's not the same one. I didn't go get it replaced. Someone was like, "Oh, you know, how much did you pay to get it fixed?" No, I didn't pay to get it fixed. Got a lot of stuff in this drawer. Let me see if I can find the other 6A that's broken, and then I'll show you. I got to. Oh, there it is. I was gonna do that sound from like the Rugrats. Dun, 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 dun. You guys see? Two different phones. Maybe I can use this Pixel 6a as parts. If it ever breaks, maybe I'll heat up the one that's working and maybe like switch out the camera sensors if one breaks or something like that. I don't know. I'm keeping it for parts. Maybe I might actually pay to get the screen repaired one day. Maybe. We'll see. We shall see. Let me catch us with some of these comments. Remember what you said yesterday, Tito? To do a trade-in, the old phone has to be in. Yeah, that's with like, you know, companies that require a trade-in for, you know, promotion. The thing with Boost Infinite and what they're I mean, it's a similar way. Yes, it has to be in good condition, right? And again, like I said, what I mean by good condition is that you can't have a cracked display or a cracked back. And the side rails of the phone cannot be all dented up extremely bad, right? Of course, they expect to have some nicks and scratches and maybe one ding here and there, but nothing that's like, the cosmetics cannot make it look like that it's been royally abused. And they'll take that as a trade-in. But that's like for like a trade-in for like, say like the Unlimited Plus iPhone 14 on us promo. Yeah, you would definitely have to trade in on that one. For this one, for the iPhone Access, you don't have to trade in to start it. But every year you do have to surrender your iPhone to get the newer one. So if you have the 15, if you know started out right now, got the 15, next year September when the 16 comes out, if you want that 16, you got to give them your 15. And of course, it has to be in that type of condition. It cannot be, you know, where one would say that if you were to rate it on Swappa, it was going to be like, you know, like heavily used. Can't look that way. I sold the Pixel 6a at Walmart. Great device for the price on Straight Talk. Yeah. It's a solid phone. Like I said, just by me using it for the last couple of days since I got it, you know, I'm confident I can stick my Pixel 7a back in its box for a while and then just use the 6a as my daily driver. Of course, I got some other videos I got to make, you know, photo comparisons between the 7 and the 7a and the 6a. Those types of things. OnePlus 11 most slept on the phone in 2023. Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Metro and Boost and Straight Talk, best free phone offers. Yeah, I just you know, hope that people kind of understand that the offer on Boost Infinite is not prepaid. Boost Infinite is not prepaid. And that people don't get confused and go to a Boost Mobile store. Because I already seen one person already kind of like pissed off at a Boost Mobile rep that they weren't giving the iPhone 15 on a $60 plan. And it's like, but that's not their plan. They're prepaid. You know what I mean? Boost Infinite is postpaid. So I love Android more than iPhone for the customizations that Android provides and everything else. It was not a bad phone either. I like the iOS and certain features, but either one is different. Yeah, I mean they have their differences. they also have some things that is similar. Yeah, people do have to do the research. Tito, what are you doing for work now? Helium Mobile? Nope. Can't say what I'm going to be doing. That's under wraps. But no, I want to work with Helium Mobile. I mean, it is another carrier. It's another carrier that I strongly believe in, and it's another carrier whose CEO that like, we're not best friends, you know what I mean? We're acquaintances on Twitter, but we tend to have good conversations on Twitter. That's the most clue I'm going to give anybody, and that's that. Yeah, Helium Mobile. I am going to do a live probably next weekend, kind of talking about all these new ones that are popping up, like Helium Mobile and whatnot. So maybe that'll be next week's topic and everything like that. I still get a free up mobile for free. Yeah, I remember that in the last live stream when you popped in, you told me that X Mobile, Mobile X. I don't know, maybe. Now, by the way, I'll show it again one more time. This is just a test. If anyone is actually jumping over to Mint Mobile, let me know if this promo link works still, right? I mean, I emailed out to them, because I did have a sponsorship from Mint Mobile at one point, and because of Dish Wireless and them and their conflict of interest, and they had me basically break away from my sponsorship, only to come back and tell me, oh yeah, your sponsorship would have been fine. What you do outside of work is your own business. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to try it out, go for it. That's why I busted out. Like I said in the beginning of my podcast, I busted out and found my old Mint Sim shirt. So this was before they changed the name to Mint Mobile. I got this shirt from them, so shout out to them. And yeah, I'm rocking it today. What is going to happen when Mint is fully run by T-Mobile? Nothing really, because apparently, according to a lot of people that have inside knowledge on it, T-Mobile has no desire to want to change anything about Mint Mobile. They're going to continue to run and operate them. It's just that Mint Mobile won't be considered an MVNO anymore. So like a lot of their subscribers would count actually towards T-Mobile subscribers. Yeah. So anyways, not to keep you guys too long here on a Sunday, because it's Sunday. You still got the rest of the day of your weekend to enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. So I am going to start kind of closing this out. I do want to thank everyone that came inside here and just engaged. Glad to have you guys back here. Again, thanks to the 4 people that scanned that QR code. Really appreciate you guys. Those donos go straight to me. YouTube takes nothing of it. Again, here's also the QR code there itself. It's to PayPal, and that's to support the channel. If you guys want to, you guys can. I left the QR code up there the entire podcast or whatever, but 4 people scanned that, so I'm ecstatic and happy, and I'm very, very appreciative, because I know you guys don't have to do that. So I appreciate you guys for doing that. Yeah, these text discussions, man, I love having them. So shout out to my daughter, who pretty much like pulled my ear and was like, I like that name, go back to it. Okay. I trust, like, I've named my 10-year-old daughter my official manager. She manages my my social media presence. She's like, go back to the name that you started on and stay with it. And then she's like, if I see you trying to do anything different, Dad, on your social media, I'm gonna pull your ear. So shout out to my daughter Nevaeh. She is my official manager now. She's managing me. Before I close out, there was a live stream that I watched from the Planet Earth, and he talked about your channel being dead and the algorithm giving up on you. And it's like, yeah, that does happen. That's officially what happened to this channel. That's the reason why that the growth is not what it used to be 5 years ago. But I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about those types of things. I just enjoy having fun having these discussions with everybody that wants to come on here. Yeah, my daughter's name is Nevaeh. Heaven backwards, if you got that right. So, but yeah, I just enjoy having these, right? So it doesn't matter to me if the algorithm likes me or doesn't like me. I'm not here for the algorithm. I'm here to bring content for you guys on interesting subjects that you guys like. So I also do take what do you call it? Like requests. If you guys want to hit me up on Twitter on a DM and be like, hey, you know, we should do a live stream one day talking about this. Let me know. You guys can always DM me. I have an open door policy. DM me on Twitter. If you're active on Threads, then you know, tag me on a post on Threads. Let me know, or DM me on Instagram, because that's where the DMs for Threads are. They're in Instagram. But yeah, I don't care about the algorithm. And you know, shout out to the Planet Earth. I enjoy his videos. I don't know if he knows that I watch his live streams and stuff like that when he's driving around, but I'm watching. And you know what? I enjoy his stuff. We're gonna link up for a stream. I'm definitely planning to do one in October where I'm gonna get B-Tech, CV Tech on there. So I will send out like 3 days ahead of when I'm gonna. Well, I'll do it a week ahead. So check your Twitter DMs, because when I'm ready to do it, I will send out to find out who wants to be on a group podcast. And yeah, if you use Restream or whatever, let me know, because then I can give you that link that allows the live stream to also natively stream on your channel. So, you know, your followers can watch on your channel too as well, right? There's a way to do that, and I'll get all that figured out. And then yeah, we can definitely one day to get I want to get Technoid on here. I do want to talk to him about, you know, Android and Apple. You know, he's been following the whole Apple thing close. If you guys follow him on TikTok, you guys know that he's been dropping some TikTok videos, just kind of keeping up with the Apple news until launch. I also want to invite Technoid on the wrestling podcast with me and B-Tech. If you guys aren't subscribed to the Scorpion Deathlock podcast for wrestling, subscribe to it. B-Tech, if you want to drop the link in there, drop the link in the chat real quick. I got like 3 minutes before I'm going to end this live stream. So, but yeah, definitely, you know, check out that podcast. But I definitely, you know, do want to do some works with like Sneed and Carlos and everybody else. Do more collaborative stuff like we used to do back in the day. It was fun when B-Tech and CV joined me on that one podcast we did a couple of weeks ago. So you guys catch a replay on that. But wish that wasn't a paid feature. Yeah, I mean I did that. I paid for it from my end, so I don't know if you guys have to pay for it. Like I said, I'll research it. I don't know if you guys have to pay for it, because I'm generally going to be considered the main host. So I think I'm the one that needs to be on premium in order to share that to where you guys can share it on your end. I'll figure it all out when we get to that point. Help us get to 100 subs. Hell yeah. Help us get to 100 subs. Definitely for sure. If you guys like gaming, like retro games and stuff like that, I have my second channel the link is in the description, the Ghost Shadow 300. And I just completed playing Mega Man 03 yesterday, but I unlocked the hard mode. So I'm going to go back in and play it on, you know, the advanced hard mode of Mega Man 03 and beat it on that. So yeah, I mean, that's apparently what's going to happen. I did a lot of gaming on there. Plus I play Pokemon Go and share news about Pokemon Go and stuff like that on that channel, right? So links are in the descriptions to my other channels. The Dedicated Pixel channel is linked in my description as well. You guys can definitely go subscribe to that if you guys like. I try to do uploads like every other day. So yeah, Mega Man 03, man, go check out the channel. I'll probably end up not Monday, because the rest of today and tomorrow is kind of like my day off. But Tuesday, I'm going to get back to, you know, more video uploads and gaming live streams on the gaming channel. I'm having fun doing that. So yeah, definitely check it out. You don't want to miss that. But all right, we've hit the hour mark. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you to the 4 people that hit the QR code and dropped the dono on PayPal. Appreciate you guys for that. I will see you guys in the next time. Yeah. Goodbye for now.